In this lesson, we'll learn how to use the navigation and status bar in AutoCAD. All right, so if you wanted to view this project in, let's say, perspective, maybe an elevation, if I'm working in 3D, or I wanted to change the orientation of my north, things like that, how do I go about doing that? Well, AutoCAD does a nice job of providing us with a view cube and also our navigation bar. So let's start with our view cube. So it's broken down into north, east, south, west. So right now north is here in the up direction. So if I were to click on my west, that's going to give me my west elevation. If I click on this little button here just to the left of this, what it's going to do is going to rotate this model in the direction of that triangle that I'm clicking. So I click on that, I can keep basically spinning around this model. I can do the same thing going up. So if I wanted to get a top view, right now we're viewing the right. If I wanted to get a top, I can click on that and it'll automatically bring me to top. Now if I wanted to get maybe an angled view, I can do the exact same thing. I'll click on the corner of this view cube and you'll notice how nicely this highlights to let you know that once you click that, it's going to access that view. Same thing with the top. So if I click on this edge, I can get a view of that edge. If I want to view that corner, I can get a view of that corner of my model. So this is really handy. It's really convenient to use and really easy to use once you get familiar with it. So if I want to go back to top view, I can. So what I like to do, there's some hotkeys kind of associated with working around in these views. And if you use those in conjunction with this view cube, it just makes moving around and navigating around through the views in your model relatively painless. And I mean, you don't even have to think about it. So what I usually often use is my shift key and my wheel. So we'll start out with just the wheel. Just the wheel will allow me to do some zooming. If I hold down the wheel and move my mouse, I can actually pan throughout. I can back out by moving my wheel. Now, if I hold down shift and push down my wheel, I can actually orbit around. So a lot of those views I can get. Now, they won't snap into the exact orthogonal view that you may get from this view cube here. I clicked on this corner, but I can kind of navigate around as I need to if I'm working on my model. So using this in conjunction with this is a nice way to get control of how you can view and play around in your model. Now, just below that, we have our navigation bar here, and what this does, it allows us to do pretty much what we do here, and also with some of the hotkeys we can do in here. So if I click on this first icon, this is my full navigation wheel. I'll click on it and it automatically just tails on to my mouse here or my cursor. So you'll notice as I move this around, it highlights a function. So if I wanted to orbit, I'll hold down my left mouse button and I can do just that. If I wanted to zoom, I can do just that by holding it down and moving up or down. If I needed to pan, I can go left and right by holding it down. So pretty cool. If I wanted to get rid of this guy, I could simply move to this X and it'll automatically shoot him back to his home over there. Now this drop down here kind of lets you look at things that are basically take some of the functions away from that, but we're going to keep it on full navigation for now. Escape twice to kind of clear out of that if you do open it. Then we got other elements we can do here. We can go straight pan only. We can zoom extents if you want to see the whole thing. So I can zoom extents. I can see the extents of my project. And we can rotate around or orbit around, so on and so forth. So these are going to be really important as you're working throughout your drawing when you're flipping through views. If you're working in 3D, taking a look at your model as if it's in your hand. So I really like having the hotkeys to do that in conjunction with this. And I think you'll probably like it as well. So one more section here for our interface that I want to cover is this area down here. And what this is our status bar. So this gives us control over a lot of the things going on in our project. So this section here is going to allow me to snap my project, turn my grids on and off. I can restrict my cursor. I can restrict what happens orthogonally. I can if I'm drawing, I can make things snap to right angles and things like that. We'll get into that once we start actually using the tools. But I can actually set some constraints and things like that within this drawing. I can work with scaling. So here I can actually do some scaling for my drawing here. So this is where I can access my scale. Right now we're at 1:1. And if I kind of keep working around, I can switch from workspace to workspace. 3D modeling, this is another way to get it, but I like having mine here as well as down here. So this is really going to come in handy. And as we begin using the tools, you'll really see how this works. And this is what's known as our status bar. So that's basically how the interface works. So what we're going to do in our next lesson, we're going to jump into working in our drafting and annotation space here. And we're going to learn how to work with some of the 2D tools. We're going to learn how to draw, modify, and some two-dimensional geometry. So I'm excited to jump into getting our hands dirty and using these tools to create. So I'll meet you in the next lesson.